Sup, dude? Back in 2012, there was a 3-week period where Jeremy Lin grabbed the NBA by its balls and made it his bitch. This moment in time is forever known as Linsanity. Before I dive deeper into that, let me give you a quick rundown of his path to the NBA. Jeremy played high school basketball for Palo Alto High School in California. During his senior year, he averaged a Draymond Green stat line of 15 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and 5 steals, leading his team to a 31-1 record and a state championship. After that season, he sent his highlights to a bunch of Ivy League schools, and Harvard said they would offer him a spot on the team. And just like that, from 2006 to 2010, Jeremy played point guard for Harvard and found a lot of success. He became team captain his senior year and led the Nerds to a 21-8 record. He averaged 16 points to go along with an Ivy League leading 2.5 steals per game. After his 4 years at Harvard were over, Jeremy entered his name to the NBA draft. Sadly, he wasn't picked, but he played well in summer league, so the Warriors signed him to a 2-year deal, making him the first American of Chinese or Taiwanese descent to play in the NBA. In his first year with the Warriors, he barely played. Then he got waived. Then the Rockets picked him up, then he got waived again. Then finally the Knicks picked him up and they didn't waive him. Little did anyone know Linsanity was about to be unleashed. It all began on February 4th, 2012, when Mike D'Antoni was forced to play Jeremy big minutes against the Nets because Baron Davis was injured. Prior to that night, he had only appeared in 9 games for the Knicks, and in 8 out of those 9 games, he barely played any minutes. I don't think anyone could have predicted the show he was about to put on. For the first 8.5 minutes of the game, Jeremy warmed the bench, but then with 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter, he checked in the ball game and didn't come out until the start of the second half. He didn't come out because he was playing so well. In those first 15 minutes, Jeremy made 3 layups, dished out 4 assists, and was bringing the energy on D. He was already wowing the crowd, but shit was about to get even crazier. Dude started off his third quarter minutes by immediately lobbing into Tyson Chandler, getting the crowd hyped. Then similarly to the first half, he was getting to the hoop with ease, but at a much higher clip. His ability to penetrate the hole was top tier. The crowd loved it and even began chanting his name after this tough lay.
Jeremy, that's what the fans are cheering here, Clyde.
He then capped off the night with 2 more lay-ins, leading them to victory. The Knicks had lost 11 of their last 13 games, so that dub was huge. Jeremy finished the night with an efficient 25 points, 7 assists, and 2 steals. People were in awe of what the dude had just done, but nobody expected it to continue. In his next game against Utah, he was awarded the starting point guard position and ended up doing the exact same shit. Except this time he scored 28 points to go along with 8 assists, 2 steals, and with about 2 minutes left, he drilled a 3 with the shot clock expiring and then stuck his blue tongue out. He was the star of the show, and just a week before, he didn't even know if he was going to be on the roster. His spectacular play brought the Knicks their 2nd win in a row. Surely he couldn't do it a 3rd time. Surprise, he did. Against Washington, he put together a 23-point, 10-assist night, shooting 64% from the field. The dude couldn't be stopped. He had led the Knicks to their 3rd straight win in 5 days, becoming the most talked about dude in the NBA. Except Jeremy didn't want all the spotlight. He said it was much bigger than him and wanted attention to be given to his teammates as well, because they all played a very important role in the success too. That just goes to show you the type of person Jeremy is. He's a very humble, selfless guy. His next challenge was a big one. They faced off against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers at Madison Square Garden. The night before that game, reporters asked Kobe what he thought of Jeremy Lin's recent performances, and for some reason, he had no idea what Linsanity was.
Are you surprised at the production that Lin's had over the past week?
I don't even know what he's done. I have no idea.
Lucky for Kobe, he was about to find out. Jeremy started off the night slinging that fucker. He hit a 3 and a couple middies, then dogged Derek Fisher with a nasty spin, ending the first half with 18 points and 5 assists. In the second half, he got more physical, driving in for a few layups, and he was still slinging that thing, hitting another 3 and a couple more middies. With his jumper falling, Lin was unguardable, and by the end of the night, the dude had scored 38 points, getting the Knicks their 4th win in a row. In those 4 games, he averaged 28.5 points, 8 assists, and 2 steals, with a field goal percentage of nearly 60%. He was playing like a superstar and hadn't even peaked yet. After the Lakers game, Lin and the Knicks continued their winning streak with a narrow 2-point win over Minnesota. 3 days later, they matched up against Baby DeMar and the Toronto Raptors. Through 3 quarters, Toronto was up 75-66, but then in the 4th, Jeremy rallied the Knicks to a comeback, tying the game at 87 with just over a minute left in the game. Neither team could get a bucket for the next minute, but then with a few seconds left on the clock, Jeremy lines up a 3 and drills it, winning the game. The Raptors arena erupted for him, and they had just lost a nail-biter.
Lin for the win! Got
Just goes to show you how big of a deal the dude was. People really loved his story. It was straight out of a movie. At this point, the Knicks were 6-0 in the last 10 days, and Jeremy had put up 136 points in his first 5 career starts. A big reason for his success that I think got overlooked was his athleticism. He was a 6'3", 200-pound dude who just so happened to be as fast as guys like John Wall and Derrick Rose. If you think I'm lying, Google it. I'm not. His whole game was based off his lightning quick speed. As I was watching highlights for this video, I noticed it more and more. The dude had no bag. He would just fly by his defender and beeline to the rim, fearlessly throwing himself at whoever was standing there. He was at his best when he had the ball in his hands and was able to utilize his speed. The winning streak capped out at 7 in a row after a 10-point, 13-assist game from Jeremy. After that, Lin and the Knicks would go on to lose their first game in a while against the Hornets, but Linsanity wasn't over just yet. Over the course of the next 4 games, the Knicks had a record of 2-2 behind Jeremy's averages of 23 points, 4 steals, and 9 assists. He also shot 47% from 3 on 4 attempts a night. After this stretch of games, Jeremy had his first off night. It was against the Heat, and he shot 1 for 11 from the field to go along with 8 turnovers. Sadly, this would pretty much be the end of Linsanity. Jeremy played very well in their next game and got another dub, but after that, they lost 6 in a row. Jeremy by no means played bad during the losing streak, but he wasn't putting up superstar numbers. The reason for this was Melo had just re-entered the lineup after being out with injury, and he really just fucked things up. The Knicks were winning with Jeremy running the show because he got everyone involved, but Melo was highly against ball movement. All Melo wanted to do was ruin the pace of the game and take crappy shots. New York went 2-8 with the return of Melo. Then head coach Mike D'Antoni quit, and to top it all off, on March 31st, Jeremy had to undergo surgery on his torn meniscus. He would miss the rest of the season, playoffs, and would never play another game for the New York Knicks. Yes, you heard that right, he never suited up for them again. Why, you ask? Well, look no further than this fat idiot. It's speculated that Melo didn't want to share the spotlight with Jeremy, so people think he made sure the Knicks didn't bring him back. The crazy thing is, they could have easily signed him. In free agency, the Rockets offered Jeremy a 3-year, $25 million contract, which was a pretty great deal, and the Knicks were allowed to match it, but for some odd reason, they didn't. It's mind-boggling how a franchise would just let a guy who had all this potential walk away. After Jeremy's time with the Knicks came to an end, the road became a bit bumpy. As a Houston Rocket, he put up decent stats, but his potential was limited because of 2 people. Those 2 people are James Harden and Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale was the head coach of the Rockets, and James Harden was the newly acquired star of the future. They limited Jeremy's potential because James required the ball to be in his hands in order to be the most effective, and Kevin McHale completely misused him by trying to make him an off-ball player. This led to absolutely no success, and after 2 years in Houston, he got moved to the Lakers, which was probably an even worse position. I say it was worse because he had to play with another ball hog, aka an old Kobe Bryant who was returning from a pretty bad shoulder injury. To make matters worse, Kobe and Jeremy hated each other because of differing views on how the offense should be ran. Jeremy felt Kobe shot them out of games. He was right. And Kobe thought he wasn't 36 years old coming off a serious injury. The two even argued about it over text one night, which led to them not speaking to each other for the rest of the season. Because of this and many other reasons, the Lakers finished with their second worst record of all time, 21 wins and 61 losses. Despite the rough year, Jeremy had an extremely iconic moment where he waved off Kobe and drilled a huge 3, probably one of the toughest clips of all time. During free agency, he signed with Charlotte on a pretty small contract. Jeremy said he got his love for the game back playing for the Hornets because they played as a team. They even made the playoffs and he had a couple big games. But the most memorable thing about his time in Charlotte, in my opinion, would probably have to be his mohawk. I wonder how much gel he had to put in that thing. After his time in Charlotte, he inked the biggest contract of his career. 3 years, $38 million to play with the Brooklyn Nets. Huge dub for him, but not the Nets because he didn't play much for them. Out of 2 seasons, Jeremy appeared in a grand total of 37 games. His time in the NBA was coming very close to an end. He spent his last season in the league playing backup point guard for my Atlanta Hawks and actually played quite well, but the team was headed in a different direction, so the Hawks bought him out and he signed with the Raptors, eventually becoming an NBA champion. That season was the last time Jeremy played in the NBA. No team showed him any interest, so he went to go play for the Beijing Ducks, where he was an all-star and finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. He tried making a return to the NBA, but it just didn't work out. Nowadays, he's hooping over in Taiwan for the, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Steelers. Just a few months ago, he actually put up a ridiculous 50-point triple-double. Looking back at his career in the NBA, there are so many what-ifs to think about. The main one that dogs my mind is what if Melo let Jeremy stay on the Knicks? Because the season right after Linsanity, they had their best team in a while, but their starting point guard was Raymond Felton. No disrespect to Raymond though, he's cool, but could you imagine if they had primed Jeremy Lin instead? Melo sabotaged himself. Anyway, Jeremy's time in the league was all over the place, but he proved one thing, and that's you can do anything no matter who you are or where you're from. You can click here to watch my last video. It's about Derrick Rose. Thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. Bye, dude.